Morning all. All right, so what I've got on the board here is nine goaltenders. Nine goaltenders who are statistically off to a slow start. I've got them arranged in terms of save percentage, but inverted. So the lowest save percentage is at the top of the board, the highest save percentage is at the bottom. And I went with nine notable goaltenders. There are a few others I could have thrown on the board, but I'm going with these nine, with the idea of talking about which ones we think can turn it around and which ones may not. So at the top of the board, we got Marc-Andre Fleury, Minnesota Wild. I thought I'll throw Minnesota on as the jersey for this video. He is 37 years of age. He is 5 years older than anybody else on the board. So that is eyebrow raising in that at some point in time, goaltenders' numbers do fall off. They do end up having to retire, or they decide to retire before the numbers have really fallen off. But either way, for Marc-Andre Fleury, this is a big year, right? Minnesota kind of went all in on him when they decided to sign him, and they ended up having to trade Cam Talbot. So now Gustafson's the backup, so you've got to think Fleury's going to be relied on a lot. It is only 3 games that have been played so far by Fleury, but when you look at last season, he had a rough start in Chicago, then he turned it around, and then he got to Minnesota and he was okay. And then in the playoffs, okay. And again, for Minnesota this year, the expectations are more than okay, right? Last year, he played 56 games, had a record of 28, 23, and 5, 908 save percentage. I think league save percentage on average was 906 last year, so he's right around average. But again, for Minnesota, I think they're expecting more. I do have concerns about whether or not Fleury can turn it around. San Jose, Campbell, Kahkonen, 814 save percentage, 2 games played. I have him on the board because he's 25 years of age and it feels like he's kind of at a crossroads. Minnesota decided that they didn't have faith in him, or they just said, well, we're going to have 3 goaltenders and I guess Kahkonen's the one that goes. But either way, in 36 games last year combined, 14, 14, and 4 record, 912 save percentage. And his save percentage was good. I think he can be a solid goaltender, but if he has a really rough year with San Jose, I do wonder what the future holds for him, right? And again, with San Jose, they're 1-5 on the season currently, and not many expectations of them at all, so we'll see. Jeremy Swayman in Boston, 2 games played, 23 years of age. He's got an 816 save percentage. He has not looked sharp thus far. Again, it's just the 2 games. Last year in 41 games, he was 23, 14, and 3 with a 914 save percentage. So he's almost 100 points below last year's save percentage. Same with Kahkonen. Actually, same with Fleury. So Swayman, I think, can turn it around. Of the 3 I've talked about so far, I think Swayman, I think he absolutely can turn things around. And Boston playing well, covering up for some of that too, so that helps. I think he'll be okay. 816's troubling. We'll see if things turn around. Interestingly enough, of course, Minnesota, Boston, and San Jose are all playing early games today, so maybe we'll get to see 1 or 2 or 3 of these goaltenders in action at some point during these games. But yeah, I think Swayman can turn it around. Then you come to Cal Peterson in LA, and this is an interesting one too. 3 games played, 842 save percentage. This was supposed to be the point where Peterson was taking over and Quick was riding off into the sunset. Well, Peterson's 28 years of age, so what you see is probably what you're getting with Cal Peterson. Last year in 37 games, he had a 20, 14, and 2 record. Good record, however, an 895 save percentage. He did not have a great year last year, and again, by the time he reached the playoffs, well, it's Quick's net again. And with the amount of money they're paying Peterson, I think the expectation was that he would be the starter by now. So while fans of the Kings are fantasy trading, I don't know that Rob Blake's doing the same thing, but he has to have some concern that Peterson coming off of a down year. So far, it's been another down year for him. Philip Grubauer, of course, left last night's game in Denver, playing for Seattle, with injury, which is too bad. He has an 860 save percentage in 4 games played. He is 30 years of age. Now, Grubauer was coming off of a down year as well. 55 games, 18, 31, and 5 record. 889 save percentage. With the contract he has with Seattle, I don't think he's going anywhere. But once Drieger is healthy, if Drieger plays as well as I think he can, then Seattle has themselves a bit of a conundrum. They may have a very highly paid backup in Grubauer, which wouldn't be the first time that's happened. Thatcher Demko, 861 save percentage, 4 games played. He's 26 years of age. Demko had a slowish start last year too. along with his teammates. And I think that because there's so many egregious errors being made by the Canucks in front of him, I think it's taken some of the heat off Demko. An 861 save percentage, no matter the reason, it's not a pretty number. At 26 years of age, I do expect the bounce back to happen. Last year in 64 games, he was 33, 22, and 7, 915 save percentage. I think he's going to play at least 60 games again. So he's got plenty of time to turn this around, as do the Canucks, if only they weren't so cavalier to the media about it. It makes it sound like, well, we'll be fine. And it's something that can drive you crazy as a fan, or apparently members of the media as well. But yeah, Demko, I think his numbers turn around. Now, whether or not the Canucks numbers turn around in general, we'll see. Jacob Markstrom's off to a slow start for Calgary. 862 save percentage, 3 games played. Again, the Flames are playing well. They're covering for what's been a slow start for Markstrom, and that's good. He's 32 years of age. He's coming off of a career year. 63 games last year, 37, 15, and 9 was his record, 922 save percentage. And again, I think that was a career year. Markstrom has always been able to put it together for stretches of 10, 15, maybe even 20 games. But last season was pretty much great from start to finish with some bobbles here and there. But he did end up being a finalist for the Vezina Trophy. I think Markstrom can bounce back. I don't think he gets back to 922. I think he can get a 912 or a 914 save percentage this year. And again, it's because his career average, I think, is 912, and I think that's probably where he'll gravitate to again. And the 862 to start is going to make it so it's a bit of a climb to get there. But I do think Markstrom can bounce back. Merzlikins is an interesting one in Columbus. 872 save percentage in 3 games. He's 28 years of age, so like Cal Peterson, what you see is what you get here. 59 games, 27, 23, and 7 was the record last year. 907 save percentage. And it's one thing that Columbus has had as an issue that I think much like with Demko, everybody pays attention to everything else going wrong. I think in Columbus, everything else got more attention. And I think the fact that Korpisalo had a miserable season last year hid the fact that Merzlikins wasn't really a world beater either. So for Elvis, I think the numbers can turn around. I think that with Columbus winning a couple games in a row, Elvis's numbers have gotten a little bit better over those 2 games, and I think they will get better. 907 could very well be where he ends up again, where he's good at times, great others, and there's some mediocre games that are thrown in there as well. And then Jack Campbell, who's been talked about a lot because he goes from one fishbowl to the other, from Toronto to Edmonton. 874 is his save percentage in 3 games. He's 30 years of age. Now, last year, in his first season ever as a starter, he plays 49 games for Toronto. 31, 9, and 6 record, 914 save percentage. He was 1 point behind Demko, and yet everybody talks about how fantastic Demko is, and everybody will still say Campbell, well, he's not really a starter. He's not that good. Now, Campbell missed games last year with injury, right? That is a concern. And he doesn't have a lot of experience as a starter in the National Hockey League. But at 30 years of age, I think it's too early to say, well, yeah, he's probably not that great. And Edmonton signed him for big money for a while, so he's going to be there. And sure, Skinner might be out playing him early, but we'll see how things turn out the rest of the season. So, the question that I have for people watching this video is a simple one. Of the names on the board, who do you think are most likely to turn it around? For me, I would say Swayman, I would say Demko, and Markstrom would be the 3 that I would pick out that I would say yes. But let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.